Good evening. How are you today? Well, it's about 69 degrees. Maybe I brought the Maine weather back with me because it was getting chilly as we were leaving. But it's beautiful out, and back at my hot word processor again today, so writing. And glad to be home, but it was great to get away too. And in a way, we celebrate Rosh Hashanah. One of the, I'm not Jewish, but we celebrated in the spirit of it, of the New Year. And there's a, how would you describe it? A practice called Tashlik. And Tashlik is a casting off of regrets, of certain kinds of pain, of fear, of embracing change. And I suppose the problem about looking back is that the things you regret you can't fix, and the things you enjoyed might make you full of sorrow for not being able to experience it now. But we do necessarily look back at things. It informs our current judgment. And I've always thought that in the Odyssey, when Odysseus is tied to the mast, that the women on shore whose cries can be heard are not about sensual, they're about the past. And so how do you know what to let go of the past? And how do you let go, say, of the pains inflicted politically or personally or psychologically, and yet build upon that? That's one of the challenges of life, I think. And so when we're casting out Trump, or we're casting out past pain or illness, we're casting out the things we can't change, the people we've lost. In my own life, my father, mother, and younger brother have all passed. And it's interesting how their images revisit you, and you think of things they say. And as I've said once before, I think in recent years, I think more of my dad and what he might say about this or that thing I might do. And so the pain there is that he's not here to consult with. So for those who are familiar with Tashlik, it's not a bad exercise once in a while to sort of clean out that attic of material rummaging around in there. I'm also focused on it because not only do we have a former president who is a criminal and a naysayer and a hateful individual, he's also anti-Semitic. And so he, in a very clear way, does not cast off things. He foments and stirs and hurts and injures. And it's how he deals with almost any situation. He's a bully with the weakness of cowardice. He's a bully without the affection for humanity. And those who are with him are that way. And we make a mistake when in analyzing these people, we say they don't understand. No, it's not a question that they don't understand. They are not of us. They are not like us. And Trump is an outstanding example. And in the category of anti-Semitism, over Rosh Hashanah, I believe last Friday, he said that the liberal Jews were voting to destroy America and Israel, casting out a segment of believers that can't be identified with this overarching trope, critical, hurtful, painful, at the same time not recognizing that Jews no more than fallen Irish Catholics are not a single monolith. But you see, for those who don't think and already are predisposed to hate, these kinds of things foster anti-Semitism, foster calculating how to push aside, how to segregate society rather than to unite us and bring us together. And to the extent we are brought together, that does not mean, in my opinion, compromising the greatest and most important things that you believe in, which is certainly tolerance for religions, allowing people to celebrate their beliefs. Of course, their fist and its right to swing ends at the tip of my nose. And so you can believe in the First Amendment, you can support it when you say a person has a right to his own belief system, but the government does not have any right, nor may it establish any religion over others, or, in my opinion, any non-religion, agnostic, atheists, religions that are a path of life, not a belief in some divine system. So, on so many levels, Trump is an alien being to what America was intended, what it has imperfectly been forming since the Declaration of Independence, and we should not have to suffer a person who was president under false pretenses cutting apart our society again. Now, there's a lot of talk about ageism these days, and I don't know, I had a lot of respect as a young man for the older people that I knew. My grandfather was a hell of a guy, quiet, disciplined, a Democrat, before I understood exactly what that meant. A union man at Con Edison in New York. And my dad worked at Con Edison for a while. My younger brother did. I did not, just happenstance. I took a different path to escape. I consider it an escape from the Bronx. The Bronx was good for me when I was a kid, but I had to be someplace else. So, now, how old am I in my mind? In my mind, I'm 18. Some people say, well, that's a little old for who you really are in your mind. But here's the rest of it. Biden is 80. Biden exercises, travels all around the world, goes to meetings one after another. He's shown himself to be, well, vibrant doesn't sound right at 80, but it is true. And I've known farmers in their 90s, and pretty vital and powerful people. And so I resent the attacks on Biden as one of these makeshifts in politics. Say it enough, people believe it, it sticks in their mind. Any one of us could die. In fact, if I remember correctly, the president of Temple, during a speech today, she had an attack of some sort. I don't think it's been diagnosed. They took her to the hospital and she died. I believe she's 50-something. So you never know when your moment is going to come. And in the case of Biden, sure, it could come tomorrow, or it could come when he's 95 or 100. He could live the way Carter has, because they both had that kind of discipline, something to keep them going, keep them alive. And I have noticed that people, not all people, but some people who stop doing what it is that is who they are, it's like the momentum they have, mass times velocity. That momentum carries them into a productive life, extends their life, is good for others. And that's who Biden is. He may not be exciting. You may not want to go to a band concert with him. You may not share some of his values. You may not think he should walk every day if that's what he's doing. But he's a man who can take on the job and has shown that he not only can do that, but he can lead and make a difference in government. So even with the differences we have with him, Biden is the man of the hour. And the old expression from history class, advanced placement history, was, you don't change horses in midstream. And I think that fairly applies to Biden, the grass is always greener on the other side. And while we're going through an arrangement of hackneyed expressions that people use. Now, returning to the Trump circle, it turns out that Rudy Giuliani is being sued to pay his lawyer. Now, his lawyer is Bob Costello, and Bob Costello has sued his client, Rudy Giuliani, for $1.something million. Now, I knew Bob Costello, as I knew Rudy. We all served together in the U.S. Attorney's Office at the same time. And while I've long been out of touch with Bob, he's been in New York. Rudy's been mostly in New York. They know each other. They're friends. Is this how friends treat each other? He doesn't pay his bill, doesn't apparently try to pay his bill. And so now they're fighting in public. Maybe Rudy just likes to fight, but he should have taken care of his friend or had some arrangement or promised something, but no. Rudy's now saying he's being overcharged. There is no loyalty in this circle of hateful, self-possessing, disloyal individuals. They just can't do it any other way. So, what do we have? I think, the last thing is, and you know I'm pretty square about my clothes, in part because as a kid I looked so young. I thought if I wore a tie and a white shirt, it made me look older. It just made me look like a 12-year-old wearing older clothes. But I did respect, when I worked on the Senate side and the House side, that going to the floor of the chambers meant showing respect and honoring the location by how one dressed and one conducted oneself. I went through a period where I wasn't wearing any ties for a while, and the clerks on the floor reminded me that I had to wear a tie. And now, the Senate, apparently people can wear anything they want. And I don't think that honors the position. And I do think that how one presents oneself honors the work that you're doing, honors the institution that you're working in, gives you a basis to make declarations in that body that you are suited to make because you've shown a certain level of respect. Values. The nation can't figure out what they are, and they don't know how to adhere to them. And it's not everybody, but it does appear to be 30% of those who once were Republicans who argued the issues of the day in a more disciplined, more constructive way. Those days are gone. And there has been this track ever since, frankly, Adams, of the royalty, the sole power of the presidency, the distrust of the people to handle their own business. So maybe it's not surprising. So I think what you see is what you get. And if people come to work like ragamuffins, I think their logic is like that as well. I think their performance is like that as well. And we already have chaos in our system. So I don't chase people off my lawn. And I don't know that an 18-year-old would think this way. But I've seen the alternative, and I just think you have to bring yourself to present yourself in a certain way. And if it's not done with dignity, it's reflected in the conduct that doesn't fit the form of slovenly presentations in one of the great deliberative bodies of the world. So, here I am. I realize it's getting darker. It's getting darker earlier already. But I'm out here in my cathedral of trees, and I'll see you tomorrow. All the best. Bye-bye.